Hi, welcome back. I'm Steve Kephart coming to you from a pretty snowy Iowa. I'm in the Cedar Rapids area, and we've kind of beefing the storm up for a while, and lo and behold, we're actually getting snow. And we've kind of been in a snow drought the last couple of years. It's kind of been snowing north, and a lot of places in Iowa has been get decent snowfall, just not areas where we're at. Which is all right. I mean, snow was great when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time out in the snow. I mean, we didn't have our phones and stuff like that. I mean, even when I did get a Nintendo, um, yeah, shortly after it came out, I still rather played outside than played my video games. Uh, but anyway, um, other parts of the country kind of getting hit pretty bad. So we'll keep our prayers out. That I think there were some tornadoes, so we'll just keep prayers out for them and go from there. And the everything's getting so far. I mean, I couldn't be happier with the way Trump is handling this term being president. I couldn't be happier. The thing is geez, it seems like we should be going into year three at this point in time, with all the actions that have been going on. And it is, today's the 12th. It hasn't even been, it's 3 weeks. He's been president for 3 weeks. And already we're seeing hostages getting released, all this with enacting Doge and Elon going through all this stuff. Um, it, it's great. We're finding lots and lots of fraud. Uh, it was just announced yesterday that there's a 150-year-old collecting Social Security. Where is a 150-year-old in America? I mean, no, that it's impossible. Uh, just like I think it was voting records had a whole bunch of 112-year-old plus like millions, and it's like no. But what what gets me about all of this, and one of these tweets kind of pointed it out, that the IRS every year audits people and disproportionately affects the middle class to poverty level people, because they don't have the lawyers to fight uh, audits. So they just kind of give in. But they do 200,000 plus, give or take, audits a year on citizens for not doing their taxes right, and trying to cheat the system, which is a whole different subject. But it's just amazing when we the people elected somebody that wanted to do an audit on the federal government. He ran on that, and how much pushback there is with, you can't do that. You can't audit us. This is borderline illegal. We've got some of these judges that are way overstepping their boundaries, and claiming stuff that evidently they do not know the Constitution one little bit, and how funding actually works. Telling Trump that he has to reinstate all these payments again, putting a stop to it for now. Uh, he doesn't get, saying that the executive branch doesn't have the right to do that, and that is totally backwards from the way everything works. Congress, they have the checkbook. They fill out the checkbook. The president signs the check. If the president feels like this funding is no longer needed, like contracts, a 3-month contract that's 50 years old and still getting paid out, you know, what these judges are trying to say now is that it's illegal for you to figure out where the felonies are happening. because during this audit, we're seeing all this money going places. Why is it going there? Somebody needs to be held accountable because this is taxpayer fraud. This is felony. It could borderline, if we start getting into the Defense Department, uh, is it treasonous? Questioning that with DHS right now, with them, the FBI, inside the FBI leaking information on where ICE was going to be. I know Tom Ullman said it was treason. I really, it does fit the pattern. I mean, you are aiding and abetting a fugitive of an enemy of the state. So, yeah, uh, I hope that comes to you. I really was hoping that we would actually get some charges by now. I figured, somebody's going to push back on the immigration stuff, and lo and behold, shortly, about an hour and a half ago or so, Pam Bondi came out, the new Attorney General, and has announced that there are some charges having to do with immigration. Finally. And this is great because these are the people that have been launching the lawfare against Donald Trump. So, of course, I haven't checked CNN yet. I'm sure they're going to spin this as this is a retribution charge. He's having his attorney general do his bidding, but it has nothing to do with that. But this is against the state of New York Governor Kathy Hochul, the New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who campaigned on which is illegal. It should have been struck down in court, but it's a very liberal area, so they allowed it to slide. Actually, she should be disbarred for what she has been doing ethically. Same with Soros guy Alvin Bragg, but and the DMV commissioner Mark Schrader. So these people, and I'll quote her, said, New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. And this is what we want. If you're not going to be compliant with federal laws on what the president's trying to do, then yeah, you need to be held accountable. You're interfering. This is great. Hopefully, it'll send a sign that now all of a sudden, I'm wondering if tomorrow Newsom's going to start complying, or how many different sheriffs. There's a few sheriffs in California that are complying, going against what the governor and their Congress wants, but there is a bunch of ones that are going to do Newsom's bidding. Unfortunately, here in Iowa, up in I think it was Winnebago County, kind of the very northeast part of Iowa, up by the Minnesota border. That sheriff was saying that he wasn't going to cooperate. Investigation has been begun on him from Brenna Bird, our Attorney General here in Iowa, which is great. Again, these people have broken the law, and you need to cooperate with it. I mean, it is constitutional. I know they're trying to fight this stuff in courts, but it's not going to work. It just the law is more on Trump's side right now, having to do with the Constitution. We are going to fight this tooth and nail using the Constitution. Now, it's pretty plain and simple that the commander-in-chief has the rights to do this. So, but these courts, we need to start having impeachments on those. And there was an impeachment coming up on one of them. They just filed the articles of impeachment on a judge, and it used to be kind of a common thing that these judges, especially federal judges, would get impeached and get removed from their bench. It was way common for that to happen. And over the last like 40, 50 years, it hasn't happened. We haven't been purging bad judges that are the ones that are ruling on their feelings rather than the rules of law. Like I was trying to remember her name earlier. She's the one in DC there that was trying Roger Stone and Paul Manafort. A guy lost his job under Trump. He was a Biden holdover. Trump fired him because, well, we just don't need you here. He appealed it, and this judge has, and she's obviously a lefty judge, way lefty judge appointed by Obama. She let the guy have his job back for some weird reason with back pay, which is really funny. Again, we're questioning the person that's signing the check to save the taxpayers money so we can get our debt under control. And now you're saying that that same person can't fire people. A lot of these federal employees are fighting getting fired. You've been fired. You work under the executive branch. It is no different than you come out here to the private sector and you work for a boss. I live in Iowa. We are a right to work state. So it doesn't matter if you've been there for 20 years. Boss comes up and says, you're fired. You're fired. We here in Iowa don't even have to have a reason why. It's a no fault state, right to work. So I've enjoyed that. I don't like the union way of thinking when it comes to, especially seniority and everything like that. Seniority is not always a good thing. Yes, you can learn a lot from your elders, but yeah, sometimes it's time to pass the torch on. Before you screw yourself as a company that you don't have somebody to replace it. Happened with my grandfather here in Cedar Rapids when he was back in the late '60s. He worked refrigeration at a meat packing plant. And he self-taught himself all the refrigeration. He knew a lot of, at that point in time, it was ammonia, and he knew the full facility front and back. And he told them, he's like, hey, I'm getting up there in age. I'm about due to retire one of these days. What if something happens? And you need to get somebody in here so I can train them before, and they never did it. And lo and behold, he ended up having a heart attack and had triple bypass surgery, one of the first ones done here in the Cedar Rapids area in 1969. But, he never went back to work after that. He took early retirement, and so be it. And yeah, that meatpacking plant suffered for a while when they had breaks with their AC refrigeration. Meatpacking plants refrigeration is key. That helps us a lot with getting the cuts of meat we have. Everything's frozen. I make a lot of beef jerky and stuff like that. Yeah, you freeze that stuff up and it cuts nice and smooth and everything. So you got to get that meat down to under 32 degrees. So yeah. But anyway, the waste is getting found. FEMA had awarded New York City, and it was going to the Roosevelt Hotel, which is owned by the Pakistanis. They were getting money from FEMA to house these. The last payment was $59 million to New York City to pay these Palestinians that own the Palestinian government actually owns the hotel. I don't know how this freaking works, but the United States doesn't own a hotel someplace. Just so you know, we own a lot of bases and a lot of embassies, but I lost my whole train of thought on that. But yeah, $59 million. It's luckily we got that stopped. Again, this is our taxpayer money. Why should there be any fight on either side. This is the reason why for a while there, voting really wasn't that popular until Donald Trump got in the race, and then we had to make it. Everything really got political, especially with Obama with his Black Lives Matter bullcrap. But um, people just weren't enthusiastic to vote because it didn't matter who you voted for. And I remember 20 years ago somebody telling me that, and it was like, no, that's BS. I know there's a difference. This side's going to do X, Y, Z. I just can't myself with A, B, and C anymore. And um, no, they were right. It's been the same. There was no difference between Bill Clinton Reagan was kind of an oddball, but then again, he was kind of chosen for the job anyway. He did all right, but when you got into the Bushes, the Clintons, the Bushes again, that's all one family. So it's been one big cabal, and now everybody's pissed off that we're calling them out on their BS. Why is it that we have to use this much taxpayers' money, and we are still going in debt? We take in $2.2 trillion, and we're paying out 2.9 trillion. That your household's not going to work. So, so I got to talk about a couple of things I forgot to talk about the other day. And I seen a beautiful video today too out of that. The military recruitment, phenomenal. In December, it hit a 12-year high. January, a 15-year high for recruitment. The Trump effect. These guys going in, they're going to go in for 3-4 years. They're going to serve their time out with one of the best commander in chiefs. Why not? You got a hell of a great defense secretary now, Pete Hegseth. He's over there in Germany, going to go to a NATO thing, and here he is up in the morning doing PT with the Marine Corps. With I forget what unit they were, but he's out there doing PT, and that's who he is. He enlisted years ago, and he had worked his way up to the position of major, still in, and now he is in charge of that military. He has so much more respect with the grunts, the privates, the E1s to the all the way up. He's got their respect, especially with the enlisted people, because of where he has come through and showing this, being out there. I mean, he's a younger guy. He's in his 40s, early 40s or so. So it looks good. It makes things, it's phenomenal. Seeing these numbers coming up, because I knew our military was getting depleted with this BS of the DEI to the transgenderism shows and pushing that. We're cleaning it all up. This is the military. We don't have time for this BS. The military, I mean, for the people that I grew up with, and yeah, I'm Gen X, so we had parents that were affected by Vietnam and whatnot. My dad was a Vietnam vet, didn't actually go to Vietnam. He was actually stationed in Hawaii, but still the same effect was in during that conflict, and had some intelligence stuff to do with that. But you know, they knew what hardness was. I mean, my dad talks about the time when he had to scrub the grout with a toothbrush because so and so, one of the lieutenants, was mad at him for no reason, just didn't like my dad. So you don't see that now. You don't see them getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're doing 5-mile, 10-mile runs before you even go to breakfast. You know, I remember my dad telling me about basic training. You didn't getting days off. Now you have days off. Uh, you've got it's a way different military, and it needs to get back to its grassroots, being prim and proper, trim, cut, uniform. Um, it, Look at all the armies around the world. I mean, you don't see that coming out of Russia. You don't see that in China, even South Korea, even Japan, their little military forces to the militaries, and even in Africa that they have. You don't see that. They, you all dress the same because you're one unit. So, anyway, um, another executive order that Trump signed, I wanted to kind of touch on. Um, the executive order having to do with the persecution of Christians. Um, this is a long time coming. It's been going on for a long time, but it's really ramped up over, especially over the last 20 years or so, with hundreds and thousands of churches across Europe getting burned to the ground, push of Islam getting pushed through, uh, and you can't say nothing negative about a Jewish person, otherwise you're anti-Semitic. You can't say nothing negative about a Muslim because then you're Islamophobic. Now, I still hate a society with their verbiage and not understanding how words actually, the definition of words. I don't fear Islam. I'm not scared of Islam. I think Islam is religion. I don't fear it. Uh, I mean, that's stupid. It's like being transphobic. I'm not scared of these people. I just don't want them around. I'm not homophobic. I just don't. I'm not scared of them. I've had some gay people in my life. It doesn't scare me. It's just not for me. I think we should change all of society for the name. But anyway, back to that's all part of the destruction of this Christianity too. And it's you. We've got hate laws for saying something bad about Islam or Jews, but we don't have nothing. If you say something nasty about Christians, or you have somebody that goes in and shoots up a Christian church, we can't charge them with a hate crime of being anti-Christian. And I think that needs to change. You're either going to include all of it or none of it. Uh, it's stupid to attack on. I don't understand why they had to tack on this hate crime onto stuff anyway. It doesn't really do anything to the charges. Um, Most of the time, this has to do with the murder cases anyway. People are going away for life for murder. Oh, well, you get an extra 5 years for the hate crime. So, but that's been my opinion about hate crime for a long time, and the definition of hate. We, like I said, we've lost a lot of the definitions of what these words actually mean. I know I've talked about the whole assault rifle thing. I'm a big two-way guy. I think everybody should be carrying. Um, the Wild West should have never read it. We should have never gave up any rights from that, but lo and behold, we did. Uh, but but anyway, um, we'll go on from there. Yeah, that's great news. We whole bunch of good stuff going on, especially with Hegset for the finding the waste. People are surprised at all this stuff. I know I've talked about it before about the waste that's been going on. Rand Paul has a thing out every year at the end of the year, some of the waste projects, and people just laugh about it. Never realized it came out of this USET thing. I knew it did, but I didn't think it was really that bad. But um, yeah, we're funding everything, anything and everything. But my one that I always remembered was some gender equality studies in Pakistan, and it's like for like $25 million. Their women wear burqas. What are you doing? This is obviously a way to funnel money back, and hopefully they can get to the bottom of it, and the more charges can actually come out of all of this stuff. It would be great if it would. I would like to see more and more people getting held accountable for what they've done. Uh, we're getting to the change. Lawsuits are coming. I know they're already challenging the birthright citizenship that has never been gone to the Supreme Court, and it'll be pretty. That's it's a given that one's going to be go through. That it's not, you don't have birthrights. We're the only country that does do that. I'd like to argue with a lot of people that say there is, but there isn't. Even one of them is Italy that they give an example of. No, you get citizenship if one of your parents is a citizen of Italy. And you, granted, that's the way it is most all the countries. Is one of the parents has to be from that nationality. Um, two Americans having their baby in Italy. No, it's still an American citizen. It's not, it has nothing to do with being Italian. So, and the 14th Amendment doesn't not cover that at all. It had to do with the slaves and make sure that their children were recognized as U.S. citizens. Uh, the only case that even came close to it was having to do with the Chinese guy that something having to do with Chinese resettlement that we had going on. The federal government did somehow. He didn't get citizenship when he actually should have had citizenship anyway. But it never really argued on the 14th Amendment anyway. It had to do with something else. 14th Amendment more or less needs to be taken out anyway. We rescinded one before. We can rescind a couple of more. I do believe so. But again, we'll keep up with the whirlwind of everything going on. It is a big, fast whirlwind, and you got to keep checking the news about damn near every 2 hours because otherwise you're just not going to keep up. So, but anyway, I'll what you got to do, and God bless everybody. Thank you very much.